Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is out. I've played through the campaign and I'm currently left sitting in my chair thinking, what was the point of this game? I'm sure many people are thinking the same way about this, and for a spoiler-free review, this game is 100% a DLC that they are charging at full price. Continue any further and spoilers will be thrown your way, so you have been warned. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go through an in-depth review of the story because frankly it is not worth my time to talk about it, so instead, I'm going to put in the same amount of effort into talking about the campaign as the creators did to make it, just barely. The entire campaign can be best described as a game that tries really hard to be shocking, but just doesn't hit the mark. It doesn't ever give off that level of resentment that we all felt in that one scene in Modern Warfare 2 when Ghost died, or when that family dies in the truck explosion in Modern Warfare 3, the original one. Modern Warfare 3 takes after the events of the previous game pretty quickly, putting us right into the action and showing off what kind of gameplay the entire game is mainly based around. Every mission kinda starts the same. You're sneaking into some kind of enemy base, you try to stealth your way through, but eventually, shit hits the fan and all hell breaks loose in a crazy firefight. That is every single level setup. I am not joking. No mission just sends you right into the midst of a firefight except the one where you are in the stadium trying to get Makarov in a 4-year flashback.
Get out of here. Move it. Push it up.
You always come in super stealthy, try to stay covert on your way through, and no matter how quiet you are, or how perfect the stealth is, you get compromised somehow, and it is full-blown combat.
Going up to the 7th floor.
Всем подразделениям. The enemy is located on the 6th floor. Find him and kill him.
It is boring to not be able to actually stealth the entire thing. There may be 2 missions where stealthiness is possible, but it is highly unlikely. I played the campaign on normal difficulty, and yet the guards have a crazy peripheral vision, so sneaking past guards is difficult, and you cannot even hide bodies after dropping someone. Like, if stealth is something that is needed, wouldn't it make sense to have a mechanic that allows us to pull bodies to other locations to hide them, instead of adding a different kind of sideways hipfire? All the characters feel somewhat normal for a Call of Duty game. You got your homeboys, Gaz, Ghost, Soap, and Price. Then you got lesbian CIA operative Laswell. Then you have Yuri and Nikolai. All of them are their normal selves, have really no complaints about their characters, except for maybe how Soap died. But Makarov is really the only person who bothers me. They changed his character to not even look at all similar to his previous self. His voice doesn't even sound alike.
Рад видеть вас обоих. Тебя тоже.
Что вы добились в этой камере?
Это только верхушка айсберга. All stations, this is your commander, Vladimir Makarov. Call sign Tsar 90 actual. I have the con. Move to phase 3. Out.
And he just doesn't give the same horrific energy as he did in the originals. Like, I cannot think of one moment where we watched Makarov do something so horrific himself. Makarov in the original games, if I remember correctly, was a Russian ultranationalist, and in this game he still is. However, in the original games he was doing everything he did to avenge his predecessor Zakhaev, who was shot and killed by McTavish. He had the perfect plan of revenge, which in the grand scheme of things was making Russia invade the US after a staged event that happened in one of the most controversial missions in video game history. Makarov had his motivations, and it was clear what his goals were, which was the destruction of the US. In this current version, Makarov has one goal: to restore Russia to its original glory. But I'm having trouble seeing how everything that happens in this game connects back to that. He uses ULF missiles with chemicals like Nova 6 or something like that, but the missiles are supplied by General Shepard, who I thought resigned and went off the grid in the last game, but Makarov wants to pin the blame on ULF and the US for these attacks in Russia, and I can't understand how doing this will make Russia go back to its so-called former glory. Maybe it's just my smooth brain trying to turn the single cog that is in there, but this campaign just does not make sense to me, including the antagonist's motivations. because so far, all I am seeing is some babyface wannabe who likes to keep things under strict deadlines while trying to cause as much random chaos as possible. The only thing that he actually does in this game is come in, 2-tap Soap in the face, and then he just fucks off. His one contribution where we see him do something is at the end of the game and just kills off one of the main characters out of nowhere. And then we get an ending scene with Price, Gaz, and Ghost where they pour Soap's ashes over a cliffside, which, not gonna lie, made me tear up a little bit, but then the game just ends. That is my biggest issue. They just end the game. I was watching the credits just waiting to see if there was an epilogue mission or something. This is how they should have ended the game. After Soap is killed, and the cutscene where they are all standing over the cliff, it should have faded to black, but then we get dropped down into Price's body, where we watch Price, Gaz, and Ghost walking through dense overgrowth before coming up on the original estate from the first Modern Warfare 2, which in that game was Makarovs' safe house. The final mission should have been these three doing a breach and clear mission similar to Clean House from Modern Warfare 2019, going room to room before eventually finding Makarov and killing him. That is how they should have ended the game. The final mission should have been about taking revenge, not mourning a death. In nearly every new Call of Duty, something new gets introduced, whether it is a new game mechanic, new kinds of guns, equipment, lethal and tactical, and sometimes the overall feel of the game can be different. In my playthrough, the only changes I have seen from Modern Warfare 2019 to this game is that you can now aim your gun sideways in CQB environments. A different way to aim is really the only thing I have noticed that actually changed. You still have normal kinds of grenades, flashes, smokes. The gadgets are relatively the same as every other game. You can use armor plates and get self-revives in the campaign, which kinda upsets me. The takedowns are all kinda meh, and they couldn't have bothered to put in more effort to add in more takedowns than just the couple that we can actually see, since they add like 15 new ones each month for $20 each. But they changed virtually nothing about the game to make it feel like a new Call of Duty. They brought back being able to change your weapons before each mission, but unlike in Black Ops 2, it only allows you to do that when you replay the mission. It does not allow you to do it before, and even then, you need to find these orange boxes to unlock specific equipment and weapons, which I guess can get you to explore the level more, but I more just stumbled upon these boxes, which they just pulled straight from Warzone, much like a few missions that they created where they simply just pulled locations from Verdansk and just said, "Here, new mission," without putting in any effort. Most of the missions are not even unique to the game and are just reused places that they've already created. However, not everything in this game is bad. Gotta give credit where credit is due. The artists did not slack off here. The environments look amazing. When we go to the crash site in Urzikstan, all the way to the valleys in the bunker mission, every place looks phenomenal. The pre-rendered cutscenes look fantastic as well, even if they look very similar to the previous games. The idea of being able to customize your kit before each mission is cool, and in this game, when having large open areas to do objectives in is 90% of the game, it does a good job in begging people to explore, and I'm sure for the Warzone enthusiasts, they will love being able to stealth around the dam and walk around the stadium when it is actually filled with people. The missions being semi-open world is nice for a COD game. Being able to move around and choose how I take on a situation is awesome, since there are only a handful of missions within the past CODs that have done that, and it adds a sense of exploration to the game that we haven't really got, which is a neat touch. Overall, the campaign and story is not worth remotely $70, and if anything, it should be a $30 game. The story is poorly put together, motivations are not really there. Makarov is a total downgrade who barely has a legit presence in this game, aside from them saying, "Makarov must be there." The sense of urgency as the player is non-existent, and there are no innovations that make this feel like a new and better Call of Duty. It just feels more like a quick cash grab that they created to have another excuse to shove Warzone down our throats. Now, I know I only talked about the campaign in this video, but I'm gonna make separate videos for the multiplayer and zombies in the future when I have had more of a chance to play them, and as a smaller creator, it'll be easier for me to focus on them individually. Regardless, thank you so much for watching, and please let me know down in the comments what you thought about the campaign. What was good, what wasn't, what you hated and loved. I'm curious to hear what people think about the shortest Call of Duty they have created. Thank you for watching. This is Fire First, signing off.
On the catwalk, south side.
They're targeting the powerhouse and support structures.
We'll collapse the dam. We can't let that happen.
Secure the catwalk, 07. 07, you've got an enemy vehicle incoming.
The catwalk's rigged.
Copy, get it defused.